Corporate tax exemption for extractive and non-extractive natural resource businesses. This category encompasses both extractive businesses and non-extractive natural resource businesses. These entities may be exempt from corporate tax, provided they meet certain specified conditions. This exemption recognizes the unique nature of their operations, which often involve significant contributions to the UAE's economy through the exploration, extraction, and processing of natural resources. However, there are important considerations regarding independent business activities conducted by such entities, which could bring them within the scope of corporate taxation. Below is an in-depth exploration of the relevant rules and conditions applicable to these businesses. Overview of extractive and non-extractive natural resource businesses. Definition of extractive and non-extractive businesses. Extractive businesses. These involve activities related to the exploration, extraction, removal, production, and exploitation of natural resources. Such operations typically include activities like mining, drilling, or extracting hydrocarbons and minerals from the ground. Non-extractive natural resource businesses. These businesses focus on processing natural resources from their raw, extracted state to a form ready for sale. This may include refining, transporting, and other activities that transform natural resources into commercially viable products. Scope of exemption and relevant conditions. Entities engaged in extractive or non-extractive natural resource businesses may qualify for an exemption from corporate tax if they meet all applicable conditions outlined by UAE law. However, if these businesses conduct an independent business that is not directly ancillary to their main operations, and if this separate business accounts for more than 5% of their total revenue, they will be required to register with the Federal Tax Authority, FTA, and become subject to corporate tax on that revenue-generating activity. The basis for taxation and constitutional context. The UAE Constitution considers natural resources within each emirate to be public property belonging to that emirate. In recognition of this constitutional framework, persons and entities engaged in the extraction and utilization of natural resources are often subject to taxation or levies imposed by the respective emirate. The corporate tax exemption for these entities is thus contingent on meeting specified conditions and ensures that emirate-level taxation maintains its primacy over the revenue generated by natural resource exploitation. Conditions for exemption. To qualify for an exemption from corporate tax, a person engaged in an extractive or non-extractive natural resource business must satisfy the following conditions. 1. Right, concession, or license issued by local government. The person or entity must possess a formal right, concession, or license granted by a local government authorizing them to undertake their business activities related to natural resources. 2. Effectively subject to emirate-level taxation. The business must be subject to taxation under applicable emirate legislation. This could include income or profit taxes, royalties, revenue taxes, or any other form of tax, charge, levy, or fiscal measure imposed by the local government in connection with the entity's natural resource activities. 3. Notification to the Ministry of Finance. The entity must notify the Ministry of Finance regarding their status as an exempt person and their compliance with the applicable conditions. This step is crucial for ensuring transparency and compliance with national tax laws. Effective taxation by local government. A person or entity is considered to be effectively subject to tax under the applicable emirate legislation if they are subject to any form of fiscal measures imposed by the local government. This can take the form of taxes on income, profits, royalties, revenue taxes, or any other form of levy in relation to their extractive or non-extractive natural resource business. Additional condition for non-extractive natural resource businesses. Non-extractive natural resource businesses must adhere to an additional condition regarding their sources of income. Specifically, they must not derive income from natural persons who do not undertake a business or business activity. This means that the exemption applies solely to businesses engaging in transactions with other businesses, excluding dealings with end consumers or other entities that do not fall within the scope of the corporate tax law. This condition ensures that the exemption remains limited to business-to-business transactions and does not extend to consumer-level transactions, thereby preserving the integrity of the exemption framework. Limitations on the corporate tax exemption. The exemption for extractive and non-extractive natural resource businesses will not be available in the following circumstances. Transactions with non-business persons. If a business derives income from transactions with natural persons who do not conduct a business or business activity, the exemption is nullified. Such income falls outside the scope of the corporate tax law. Transactions with non-business entities. Similarly, if the entity derives income from transactions with any other person or entity that is not considered a business or organized entity under UAE law, the exemption is invalidated. This condition reinforces the principle that the exemption applies exclusively to bona fide business-to-business engagements.